Very well, welcome from Germany, from patent side. Welcome to our today's webinar, e-mobility, evaluating top patent owners and their portfolios, with a special focus on Chinese player and the Chinese market today. Maybe, there we go. Really quick introduction of who's in the room at the moment, who is holding this webinar. That is me. My name is Andreas Libbering. I'm a Senior Customer Success Manager at PatentSite, and I'm joined here also by Shabani.
Good evening, everybody. Warm welcome from us in Bonn.
Yeah, Shabani did all the analyses you guys have seen on LinkedIn. So thank you very much for this, and we'll have a look at these analyses today from a more Chinese market view, and also we'll dig into the data a little bit more, a little bit deeper. Maybe for the agenda today, I'll just do a quick presentation of what PatentSite offers, what we do in general, and then we also will do a real-life example, having a look at the Chinese e-mobility market a little bit more in specific. This session today is going to be recorded. We will prepare a handout for you, which will be sent to you, or a link will be sent to you afterwards. And also during the session, you can ask questions. So there's in this GoToWebinar application, you have the option to ask questions. We see whether we can ask them during the presentation. Otherwise, we will come back to you after the presentation. All right, so let's get it started. Maybe we start with the questions: why do patents matters? Why is everyone on board today? And why should you be interested in what PatentSite offers? The idea is that when you have a patent on a key technology, you will be able to create a commercially successful product. And that in turns, like when you have patented, that gives you the chance to exclusively sell this patent, which will result in high revenue and earnings. The problem is with patent data, this is available. So the question is, how do I identify these key patents to get an idea who are going to be the top players in the e-mobility market, for example. So the patent data is there, it's available, but you face two major challenges here. Number one is the data quality. So you have insufficient data quality. That means, for example, you have incomplete ownership information about data. You have weird company structures, different applicant names, and it's really difficult to identify the actual holder of a patent. Also, we have translation errors, misspellings, just in general errors in these applications on those patents, which makes it really, really difficult. Also, we have ambiguous legal status information, so we don't really know whether a patent is active or not. Another really big challenge, which is probably even a bigger challenge, are the sheer data masses of patents. So what we see, sorry about this. So what we see in 2018, there have been global R&D expenditures of around 2.3 trillion US dollar, which is like an unbelievable amount of money of expenditures. And of course, a lot of this money runs into technology or goes into technology, which is ultimately patented. And we see in 2018, there were 3.2 million patent applications. And the thing about patents is, what you have to keep in mind, that about 80% of all those patents have no commercial value. So it's about to identify those 20%, some studies even say 10 or 5%, which actually have a business value. And how do you want to do this with this insufficient patent data and with these sheer data masses? I want to show you an example in which field, especially for today's webinar, this can be a really big problem. So until recently, or like let's say until 5 or 10 years ago, we had like well-established value change. For example, in the car manufacturing market, we had the traditional OEMs like Toyota, Ford, or Mercedes, BMW, and we had these suppliers. These were in their own field. They didn't have to look to the right and to the left. But today, driven through new developments, through digitalization, they have to look to the left and right and have to see what else is there. For example, we have electric car manufacturer like NIO, BYD, Tesla. So they have to look there. On the other hand side, we have to talk about autonomous driving, which brings big technology companies like Alphabet, Baidu, even Amazon into the market. They also have relevant technology in that field these traditional car manufacturers have to look at. And also, just to give you an idea, what also you have to keep in mind, alternative mobility provider like Uber, Lyft, also they have patent, also they can be relevant for the field of e-mobility and also for autonomous driving. So you see the whole ecosystem grows, is getting bigger, everything is interconnected, and you have to to identify those relevant patterns for yourself. And let's have a look how we overcome these challenges and how we help you to find, let's say, the needle in the world out there, like the relevant patents. So what we do first is we collect worldwide patent data. Our main data source is EPO from the European Patent Office. They work together with all patent offices around the world. So we cover worldwide patent data here. This forms our patent site database, which currently contains more than 100 million patent documents. And what we do then is we build families out of these documents. What we basically do is, what you have to keep in mind about patents, that these are territorial rights. So when you want to protect your invention in a specific market, in a specific country, you have to file a patent there. If you do not file it in a market, someone else could use your patent as a blueprint and work with this. So what we do is we build patent families. Basically, we take all documents worldwide which describe one invention and assign them to one patent family. Here we're working on a simple patent family definition. Then we conduct two very, very crucial steps. The first one is we check the legal status of a patent because, and I think we can agree on this, only patents which are active today contribute to the overall strength of a patent portfolio. We do not only track these this legal status over time. We do not only check this legal status for today. We also track the legal status over time, which gives you the user the possibility to kind of travel back in time, to have a look how a portfolio looked like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the active portfolio of a company. The other very important step where we put even more effort into is defining who the ultimate owner of a patent is, who has actually control of a patent. And if you work with patent, you know how painfully difficult that can be. You have, as I said, weird company structures, misspellings, translation errors. And we have a dedicated team sitting here in Germany and also internationally located who's not doing anything else than setting up these corporate structures, going through M&A newsletters because companies merge, and also look at reassignments of patents. So we keep track of this. So when you go to our software and search for a specific owner, you can be sure that all relevant applicants and subsidiaries are covered in this ultimate owner. When we did this, we can finally evaluate the patent the value of a patent. I'll go one step further here to the competitive impact, because this is our indicator for the individual strength or the value of one single patent family. The competitive impact is based on two indicators, which have shown high correlation in scientific literature with the actual value of a patent. It's technology relevance and market coverage. Technology relevance is a citation-based indicator, so we count the number of forward citation a patent received from later patents. So the idea is the more citation a patent receives, the more relevant it is. So this works a little bit like Google PageRank, for example. We apply some corrections here for patent office practices because different patent offices cite differently often. The age of a patent, simply because a patent, when a patent is older, it can receive more citations. And for the technology field, because in different technology fields, we see different citation practices. And what we always do in our database, and which make the results at the end very easy, comparable and interpretable, is we benchmark patents or the number of citation against all other patents in the same age class and in the same technology field. So really easy example, assume we have a patent, for example, by Tesla. This patent is in a specific age class, maybe 5 years old, and in a specific technology field. And this patent received 10 forward citations. And all the other patents in the same age class and in the same technology field, on average, received 5 citations. Then we benchmark the 10 to the 5. So we divide 10 by 5, would be a technology relevance of 2. So this patent, to put it in words or in a sentence, this patent is from a technological point of view twice as relevant as the average patent in our data, or in the same age class and in the same technology field. That of course also means that the average technology relevance would be 1. Average citation would be 5. Divided by 5, the average citation of all patents is a technology relevance of 1. And because we're doing this in all constructs of age class and technology field in our database, also the average of the entire database is 1 of the technology relevance. So whenever you see a patent which has a technology relevance above 1, it's above average relevant, below 1, below average relevant. The second indicator is the market coverage. As I said, a patent is a territorial right, so it's important to take into account the market size this patent family is protecting. We do not simply count the number of countries, we weigh those countries by their market size. And as a proxy for the market size, we take the gross national income. And once again here, we do a benchmark. So we take the sum of all gross national incomes of those countries a patent family is active in, and benchmark this to the gross national income of the United States. Sounds like a random selection, but the United States is the biggest economy, so we take this as a reference. So I give you a really easy example. Assume you have a patent which is only protected in the United States. We would take the gross national income of the United States, divide this by the gross national income of the United States, would be a market coverage of 1. So this patent is protecting a market size equivalent to the market size of the United States. Let's another example. You have a patent which is only, or patent family which is only protected in Germany, and Germany has like 1/5 of the economic size of the United States. That would be a market coverage of 0.2. And last example, you have a patent family which is both protected in the United States and in Germany. That would be a market coverage of 1.2. So we simply are adding these up. Then we combine both indicators by multiplying them. There are several reasons why we multiply. I think the most obvious one is to make sure that patents which are inactive today, which do not protect any market, so market coverage would be 0, do not receive any competitive impact, because patents, even if they're dead, can be relevant prior art to patents, so technology relevance is not necessarily 0. So that's the competitive impact. Now we're rather into the evaluation of corporate portfolios, not so much about the evaluation of single patents, because we see this task at the companies themselves, because they have more information about the patents, and what we offer is rather a prioritization indication where to look. So we're rather in the evaluating of patent portfolios. That's where our patent asset index comes into account, which is simply all the competitive impact of those families which lie within one specific portfolio. So we had the example Tesla. What we do is we look at the patent families within the Tesla portfolio, look at the competitive impact, sum them up. That is the patent asset index. So the patent asset index is our indicator for the strength or the total strength of a portfolio. And when we talk about competitive impact, We rather talk about quality or average quality of a portfolio or owner, or what you want to look at. And let's have a quick example how to look at this, what you can derive from this. What we see here is on the x-axis, we see the time, or we see our reporting date. So we see how the active portfolio of a specific technology field has developed over time. And on the y-axis, we have the combined strength, the combined patent asset index of these patents which lie within one technology field. And what we see here is that since 2000, the value, the total strength of patents which belong to the technology field of combustion engines is quite stable. So it's not increasing. And when we, in comparison, look at other technology fields like electric vehicles, we see a steady increase since 2000. And let's look at another hot technology field at the moment, which is overtaking combustion engine in terms of value. Took over combustion engines in values in 2016, which is autonomous driving. So you see how these technology fields are getting more and more valuable, the patents which lie within that field. And that's why we said we want to have a closer look on the field of electric vehicles. And yeah, let's jump into our software and see how we can further apply on this and have a specific look at the Chinese market. Quickly open the software. There we go. So if you have followed our LinkedIn story, that visualization here should be, you should know this visualization. So we looked at IPC and CPC Big B60L, which also have to do with electrical powertrains. And what we see here is our famous quality versus quantity chart with Toyota on the with the portfolio size on the x-axis and the average quality of those companies on the y-axis. We see Toyota has the biggest portfolio, also the biggest patent asset index, which is the bubble size. But GM, for example, has a rather small portfolio, but a higher average quality. Let me change a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is change the grouping here. I'll do this via the chart settings. I just changed the grouping to priority in to see patents coming from a specific state, specific country, and also I will add the bubble trails. And when this has loaded, I will animate this over time. So now we're looking how the active portfolios at each point in time have looked for each country. So the IP coming from each country by looking at the priority. And when I animate this over time, I have to click twice, have a look at China, we see that they were actually quite small in the early 2010. But since 2016, 2017, they are massively increasing their portfolio size. Probably will take Japan, which has to say something, in the future. And now you see that they're heavily increasing, and now we want to look at the specific players and what is the relevant technology in the Chinese market coming from China. So let's have a look at one of these the posts we made on LinkedIn, how the e-mobility market globally developed over time. Just an easy publication here analysis. And what I'm going to do now is, and also we have these other analysis, what we showed, the difference between the applicant and the owner, legal status, I already prepared this here. And what I'm going to do now is I simply take China from here and put them here into my into this analysis, refresh. And now we're looking how this publication here trend looked for IP having priority in China. And what we see is that development definitely has started later than globally. Yeah, other countries like US, also maybe Germany, have been a little bit earlier there, but recent development is massively influenced and triggered by Chinese patent applications. What I'm going to do now is I simply will transfer or like apply this this filter here to all the other sheets. So these are all the sheets which we have posted on LinkedIn, but now I will add to all these sheet priority in China. So we can with one click do all these analysis we did for the Chinese market. So I'll go to options up here and then add selected filter element to the entire workbook. All right. So once again, as a quick recap, one of our main USPs is this, or unique selling points, is the ownership harmonization, that we assign all the different applicants to one specific owner. So, for example, I have state grid here. I have different spellings of a company, and we're assigning all of these applicants to one specific owner. So within this owner here, CRC group, which are the strongest one in portfolio size, all different applicants are included. So actually the applicant CRC, I can't even find this here on the left side. Yeah, there we have, like, it's really small. So this is a really big company owning other subsidiaries which are filing under their own names, but actually belong to CRC. And with our ownership harmonization, you already have this included into this ultimate owner. The next step, what we talked about, is looking at the legal status of the patents. So we don't know whether all of these patents are still active today. So what we can do is we can slice. So this is the same visualization we have seen earlier. It's loading for a second. Maybe I'll click here so it's going to be loaded when we're there. There we go. You can also change the name here if you want to. And what we see now is we see the legal status, yeah, and we see the patents which are active and the patents which are inactive. And we see for most of the Chinese players, their patent portfolio is active. So not of much of this is inactive. This is probably due to the fact that most of these companies are relatively new, started new in that area. So most of this is still active, either in force or, of course, still pending. What we're going to have a look at now here in legal status 2. And legal status 2. So now we are not distinguished in only between active and inactive. We're also distinguishing between patents which are pending and in force. And we see for these Chinese players, especially here for CRC Group, Bike, Blue Park, BYD, or even especially State Grid, a big chunk, a really big part of their portfolio is still waiting for full protection of the patent. Definitely an information which is it's really interesting for me to see what is still in their pipeline. What are they planning? In which direction are these companies going? And as a last step, we on the left side here, we look at the portfolio size. So this is what we already have looked at. We know CRC Group, Bike, BYD company, and so on. They have the biggest portfolio. But does that mean that they are also the strongest player if you take quality of patents into account? And the answer to this question is simply no. CRC Group is definitely not the strongest player in that field, because other companies, they might have a smaller portfolio, but the patents they own are on a much higher quality or average quality. We see that quite clearly here. So, for example, in terms of size, in that field, in electric vehicles or e-mobility, BYD are on the third place. But when you take quality or average quality of their patents into account, you see that BYD in this field in China is actually a really big player, the strongest player in China with the biggest patent asset index. Also here we see, for example, NIO. I recently been to China. I've seen a lot of scooters which have been produced by NIO, so that tells me something. When you look at portfolio size, they're on the sixth place. But if you look at the value of the patents, if you take this into account, if you look at the patent asset index, we see it, they're actually on the second place. So this definitely, is a different view we're providing here. So I would rather look at patents owned by NIO than, for example, than the CRC group, because they don't seem to be of such high quality. And of course, we do not only have to look at charts, you also have the possibility to look at tables like this one here, the benchmark table, which just shows you the top players, the patent asset index, portfolio size, average quality, average technology relevance, and also the market coverage. And from the market coverage, this also gives you an idea how broad these companies are protecting on average. Most of the Chinese players are only protecting in China, like here CRC Group, like Blue Park, like a market coverage around 0.6, 0.7. That means that they're only protecting in China. But other companies like DJI Innovation, BYD, NIO, they're actually going to other markets as well. So you can directly see this here from the market coverage. All right, let's dig a little bit deeper into the data. So what I can do now here is I'm not limited to these IPC classes, owner filter, priority in filter. I can also use a full text search in patent site. So this is available since a few months, relatively new feature. We already got a really good feedback on this. So up here, we have a filter element for full text. I can search a title, abstract, and claims. I can choose what I want to look at. And you see, wait a second, when I mouse over here, we have all the general search apparatus, search possibilities a usual search tool would provide. So we have and, or, near operator, and so on. Also, you can get an idea what our data coverage here is and have a look at the search syntax here. So we just want to show you that we cover quite a lot here. So what I'm going to do is we want to have a look at electric vehicles, and I don't want to see anything which has to do with hybrids. So what I could do here is simply say, okay, I'll type in hybrid here. I could also use some wildcards, but I'm not going to do this here, and say, okay, just show me everything, these companies which have, or these patents, priority in China, which have nothing to do with hybrid. So it didn't change too much. Still BYD, the top company, and NIO, number 2. Another question here is, which might arise is, okay, this here is the patent asset index which they have in electric vehicles, which don't have to do anything with hybrids. Is that, are they really specialized in that field, or are there other fields these companies are active in? And therefore we have two really cool measures. I will show you one today. So you can add all of these charts. You can change the grouping here. You can change the sorting if you want to. Now we're back in looking at the portfolio size. But what you can also do is, I'll change this back to patent asset index. What you can also do is add measures or groupings. So you can slice the data you're looking at in any way you would like to. So I'll go to the chart settings here, and I'll add one grouping, which is called share in total patent asset index. I'll quickly move this right behind the patent asset index here. There we go. And now I see how committed a company, yeah, that's fine, as of today, how committed a company is to a specific technology field. And this can also help you to identify new entrants, smaller players, which are like M&A targets, which are really specialized in the field. And what I see here is, I just give you a reading example for NIO. So in this electric powertrain technology field, they have let's say 580, sorry, I start again. So in this field, NIO has 193 patents. They have an average competitive impact of 3, average technology relevance of 1.8, average market coverage of 1.7, and a total patent asset index of 584. And this, let's have a look here at the so-called company info box of NIO. Their total patent asset index is 3,000. And these 584, they account for 18% of their total patent asset index. So this is a really cool tool or measure to identify highly specialized players. Yeah, I already showed you the company info box here. This is really one cool thing about the software. So if you want to, all the data you're looking at is active. If you want to get further information, you can click on the data. So you can click on the company info box. You can have a look at the top authorities, a selection of top patents, our key indicators. And what I really like, related companies, like who are the companies which get cited by NIO? Who are the companies which get cited by NIO? That gives you a really good idea about the technological, but also competitive environment a company is active in. But let's get back to NIO. I have to admit, I was quite surprised that it's only 20%. So they seem to also file patents in other technology fields, in other IPC. And as I said, the data you're looking at is active. So what we can do is we can easily drill down to NIO to get further information. So what I'm going to do now here is simply click on NIO, do a drill down to a template. So you see, we have a drill down up here. The filter has been adjusted accordingly. And what I'm going to do now is I'll just delete all of this here to simply look at NIO as a whole company. Refresh. So down here, we see that's going to be roughly 1,000 patents or even more. There we go. Yeah, almost 1,000 patents. And what I'm going to do now is slicing this whole portfolio by IPC class to look what else do they have. I'll go to tables here. So here we have some predefined charts and templates you can have a look at. So you're not alone when you're starting the software. You have these templates. Also, of course, we have our consulting. So now I'm going to split all of this into the IPC. And what I see here is these top classes, they have to do a lot with e-mobility, with batteries, charging of batteries, secondary cells, and so on. But if you go down, you also see they have patents in the field of control position. So we saw this other big trend, autonomous driving. They're not only active in the field of electric cars, they're also active in the field of autonomous driving. And let's have a closer look at those patents. So we can easily do this, simply do a drill down. I'm going to do a template here again, because I'm interested in the companies NIO is building on in this technology field. What are the companies NIO is building their technology on? And I already talked a lot about citation, and we can use this citation relation between companies to see which company is building on whom. Is like a whole technology field building on someone who has the key technology, or is this split it up a little bit more? So what I'm going to do now is I simply change the owner here to owner of cited active patents. So now I'm looking at all the patents which are in this specific technology field and where NIO is the owner of cited active patents. And of course, now I'm interested in who are these companies. So what I can do is I'll go to charts and simply use this visualization here. So we have other stuff, but let's have a look at here, corporate portfolio strength. So what we see here are the top companies and their patents NEO is in this specific technology field, control of position. NEO is building on. So we see Alphabet, we see Zooxing, GM, Ford, and so on, but not like, sorry. We don't see too many, like at least among the top players, we don't see any Chinese players. So NIO is actually looking at other technology. And if you're one of those companies here, you can have a look at the NIO patents and your patents they're citing you to get an idea where they're building on me and in which direction are they going. And also, if you want to go a bit further, is NIO possibly infringing my technology? Is it worth to deeper looking into these patents? Yeah, and yeah, we offer these different perspectives on a portfolio to get an idea. Yeah, in which direction, who's building on whom, where is technology developing to? Yeah, we talked about autonomous driving. I talk a lot with my clients about this. A big part, or a really important part, of autonomous driving is also 5G. To make sure we have fast connection, Internet of Things, but especially 5G, like making autonomous driving possible at all. And yeah, as a last step of this presentation today, I would like to talk about yeah, 5G, and a lot of these patents are declared as standard relevant patents. For example, with an organization like Etsy, who's taking care of these standard essential patents. So what I would be interested in now in this field, in this IPC class, are there any patents which have been declared as standard relevant where I have to watch out, yeah, especially watch out about these patents. What I'm going to do now is I simply will do open a new sheet. I will, so you see whenever I open a new sheet, directly the same filter settings will be there from the later sheet. I'm going to delete NEO here, just in that field, and we have a filter element via Etsy. If I just want to look at whether there's anything standard relevant at all, I can select yes here. I'll confirm. And actually, I see there are 3 patents which are standard relevant in that field, which have been assigned to this specific technology field and are standard relevant. And these are only 3 patents. So what I'm going to do now is going on a like really on a patent family level. There we go. And now we can have a look what's going on there. Okay, I have Lenovo, but also here I have a patent from Nokia, for example. And now in this result list here, I can, yeah, this result list is like optimized for reading and understanding the patent, really drilling down into everything. So here I have this specific Nokia patent. I see the inventors, applicants. I can have a look at the pictures to get an idea what is this actually about. Okay, I don't speak Chinese. Maybe we also have some, I think this is English here, to get an idea what this patent is about. So furthermore, I'm not stuck on the patent family level. I can also like even look at the patents themselves. So for example, here, let's look at the US patent here. Drill down, that will open our document reader. I can detach this, open this at another sheet, so I can go through the patents here, read through the claims. So I can read through abstract claims. All of this is really nicely formatted. And if I want to, I can also download the entire PDF, the original document here. And the really nice thing about these documents is that everything is OCR'd. So it's not like, for example, if you go to Espasnet, some of their documents are just pictures of text. So you cannot search in them, you cannot paste everything out them. So this is directly OCR'd. You can directly work with this. And you have a short link to Espasnet if you want to get more information there. We have our key indicators, information about the legal status. What I really like to see, what are the jurisdiction where it's in force, which means granted and active today, where is it still pending, and where is it inactive. And the last point, what I also really like, is I can have a look at prior and subsequent art. So I see what other companies are building on this pattern. So for example, here I see Huawei, and also I can directly click on this pattern, get further information about this patent. That's basically it. So you see, to sum this up, you see from like how fast we can get from such a like almost macroeconomical view, like just looking at the countries and then looking at the players, all the way down to identify the key players, which seem to be really strong, identify their key technology, and then also getting an idea what's actually about the patents, what are the key patents in a specific market, and then I can actually read through these information if they're active or not. So you see how fast you can do, and imagine you had to do this all on your own, going through all the data from a patent office. I'm pretty sure this analysis would at least take you 2-3 months, I would say, if you have other stuff to do. Okay. That's it from my side for today. We almost have 15 minutes to 5 o'clock. As I said, we will provide you with the recording and the handout afterwards. We also will talk about your questions. I don't see any here at the moment, but we check afterwards as well. Yeah, nothing left to say. Then have a great afternoon, and yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Great rest of the week, and any last remarks, Savani?
Thank you very much for attending the webinar, and I hope this was a good insight into the e-mobility that we were posting LinkedIn posts on.
Yeah, great. All right. Have a great afternoon. Goodbye, everyone.